In the spring of 1096, the Peasants' Crusade, as it later became known, set off. It was a march unlike anyone had ever seen, but it was also unplanned, unorganized, and unprepared. Most of them just believed God would lead them to victory. They had no food, no money, and no idea how hard the journey would be. Soon it began to show. After a month of walking, the crusading hordes were stick thin and exhausted. Reaching Hungary, one mob killed 4,000 Jews, and in Belgrade they set fire to half the city. But the Crusaders' fate already sealed. Taking shelter inside an abandoned castle, they suddenly found themselves surrounded by Turkish troops. Furious at the mob's attacks on Muslim lands, the Turkish showed no mercy. Of the 100,000 men and women, only 3,000 survived. They made their way to Constantinople to join the new army. This time, they were not peasants. The Crusaders' expedition was slow from the start. They started moving south, reaching the Turkish town of Dorelium. But they were no match to the Turkish horsemen, who moved with amazing speed. Bombarded with arrows and spears, hundreds of Crusaders fell dead. Soon, the Turkish army retreated, leaving thousands of Crusaders slaughtered along the way. The rest of the 1,300 knights out of 15,000 are now finally marching towards Jerusalem. The year was 1099. After spending 39 days outside the city wall, the Crusaders are now ready to charge towards the city, along with siege towers, a giant wheeled castle. The massive attacks from both sides left many dead. After hours of desperate fight, the knights finally swung a bridge from the siege tower to the top of the walls and stormed into the Jerusalem. Charging through the city, the Crusaders went wild. Innocent citizens were dragged from their houses and slaughtered in the streets, while others were burned alive in their homes. Some Crusaders even fought each other as they looted through the holy city. Their great religious crusade now ended in one of the worst massacres of the Middle Ages. As the streets ran with blood, the leaders of the crusade gathered for a holy procession. Jerusalem had been won, but the Crusaders' crimes were never be forgotten. The storm of retaliation is yet to come.